All right, coming in at number 47 on the Locked On Senators NHL Draft rankings, we're going to the U.S. National Team Development Program for the final time, Pilsy. I feel like we should pour one out. We've done 7, 8, or 9 of the
lot of them.
This team, and we kept saying all of their stats are so good. The goalie must look good because the wins and losses have to be elite. And sure enough, Trey Augustine was the beneficiary of that.
Yeah, Trey Augustine's numbers they're insane. Like it's wild how good he is. Like, let's just start with his record, Ross. With the USNTDP, 29-1-2. So yes, you heard that right. That's one regulation loss. And then in the USHL, he had a 10-1 record. And then in the World Juniors, he had a 4-1 record. So this guy doesn't put up bigger numbers in the record regulation loss column than a 1. He gives opponents one regulation win all season, no matter where he's playing, and that's it.
You don't want to go with his under 18 record as well?
Oh, hit me with that. I didn't note that one down.
6-0-0.
Okay, well, there you go. Awesome.
Undefeated. And I mean, the save percentage is right there with it. 926 with the U.S. under 18 team, 934 at the under 18s. Now at the World Juniors, a little bit lower. Canada lit them up for 6, I want to say, was the score in the semis. Yep. But outside of that, I mean, he played great in every other game. And then that wild bronze medal game as well, where he got pulled after 2 periods. They won 8-7 in overtime. But beyond that, Trey Augustine's season was about as good as you can ask from anybody. And what really is impressing scouts is the pro mentality that Trey Augustine has at the rink, away from the rink. It has to be tough for him playing on such a good team. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I mean it. It's hard to stay in the game when you're only facing 17, 18 shots. A lot of these game logs, like at the World Under 18s, they beat Switzerland 10-0. He had 13 shots.
Yeah.
Then they beat Czechia 4-1. He had 12 shots against him. Like, it is a mental fortitude and impressive in its own way to be dialed in and stay focused when you're not getting any action. Contrary to that, though, Pilsy, are you worried in a sense that next year could be a rude awakening for him, seeing a ton of pucks for the first time in years?
Well, it's not like he's going to a horrible program. He's committed to Michigan State. I wouldn't call them a powerhouse, but definitely that's a solid program, and I'm sure they're going to have a good season. I don't know their roster next year. But it's very hard to judge a goalie that plays on a team as good as the U.S. program. Like, you can watch highlights, and he does have a couple really good saves, and you can tell that his positioning is good. Like, this is one of those guys, Ross, that our friend Pete Fry, the goalie mental coach, would say this guy's dialed in. He is so dialed in. He has precision focus. All his moves are like when he's doing his pushes across the net and across the crease in his butterfly, he's not slipping and going a little over. They are crisp, and he's stopping perfectly exactly where he wants. He's focused. You can tell he's always in good position. He's one of those goalies that he's going to make almost every save just because he's in the exact perfect spot. He's not going to have those desperation saves, I don't think, because he's not going to be out of position like that. And I just feel like, Ross, I watched a video, Chris Peters, actually one of our friends of the show. He did a couple interviews with the coach of the U.S. program and players, and all they had to say is this guy is so focused. He comes to work prepared. He never misses a day, all those kinds of things. I feel like Trey Augustine is one of those goalie weirdos. Like, don't talk to me on game days. I got to put my left sock on and then my left skate on and then my right sock on and then my right skate on. I have to do everything exactly. Like, I bet this guy has superstitions and he's one of those goalie weirdos. And I say that as an endearing term, as Ross and I are tendies ourselves. We can understand the weirdness that goalies have, but definitely the focus is there.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because EP has his shades of his Carter Hart, who's not the most superstitious goalie going. If you remember back at the World Juniors when he wouldn't be the last goal, or he had to be the last player off the ice. So Switzerland was like, okay, our backup goalie is just going to literally stand on the ice at the intermission. And they had like a stare off while the Zamboni's coming about to run them over. So
That's their whole game plan. How are we going to beat Canada? Our backup goalie, who's not even going to play a minute, is going to destroy the confidence of Carter Hart.
Heck yeah. Well,
Oh,
at
man.
Michigan State, there's already some NHL drafted players on that team. Isaac Howard from last year,
Nice.
which did he transfer from? I want to say, wasn't he at Minnesota Duluth? He was transferred from Minnesota Duluth to go to Michigan State. They also have Red Savage, all-time name, Detroit Red Wings pick there. And the other goalie so far listed for Michigan State is coming out of Penticton, who we've done a lot. Hey, talk about records. That goalie with Penticton, 16-0-1 in the playoffs for him. So, hey, it'll be a good battle. Two young goalies coming in, 19 years old, and one of them will have an opportunity to get the reins there at Michigan State with the Spartans. So I'm fired up for Trey Augustine. He's the third-ranked goalie for me in this draft class. I've got Michael Hrabal, number one. Pilsy, I had to take my guy out of number one. Hrabal's that good.
I can't believe you bumped Jacob Fowler.
Jacob Fowler's my number two.
Okay.
I'll give it away right now. Michael Hrabal, I have 30th on my list, and I have Jacob Fowler 38th. No spoilers. Tune in Tuesday, June 27th. And we'll get our complete final rankings for Pilsy and I after we finish up our draft rankings here on Locked On Senators. But yeah, he's one of the top goalies in the class. There's no question. There's also the goalie from the Brandon Wheat Kings, but I have him as a far number 5 because I have Adam Gahan, the Slovak goalie, as my number 4. So in terms of my top 5 goalies, Trey Augustine, number 3, I definitely see him going in the top 2 rounds. And just like we're going to see with defensemen early in the first round into the mid tier, I think that when one goalie goes, we're going to see a run of goalies, maybe 4, if not all 5 that I mentioned, being taken in that second round.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a goalie taken in the first round this year, Ross, just because there's so much talent.
I do. Well, after it's cheating by seeing Bob McKenzie's rankings, but Bob McKenzie has he's got Michael Hrabal as a first rounder, so that makes me believe.
Where's Hrabal ranked for McKenzie?
Oh, sorry, never mind. I thought it said 29. It's 39.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, maybe early second then. I stand corrected.
Yeah, I think you've got Augustine, Hrabal, and Fowler. You could mix and match those guys anyway, and I wouldn't push too hard back on that.
Gahan, the goalie from Slovakia, is ranked 60th on Bob's list, and Jacob Fowler's down at 92.
Whoa, okay. Interesting.
Senators territory.
Yeah, imagine the Sens first pick goalie.
They can't.
No, they can't do that.
No, they can't.
Or at least they shouldn't.
But they might.
That's why I did that, Ross. I did that just to save us.
Oh man, that's great. So with Trey Augustine, though, he's a 4-star guy for me. Like, I think he's going to be an NHL goalie. He's 6'1". Again, how many 6'1" goalies are there in the NHL? But the way he moves laterally, the way he defends the play when it's below the goal line, great at coming out in and out of his reverse VH, and he's able to really control rebounds. So I'm a big fan of Trey Augustine, and if your team just drafted him, it's going to be a long road. There's no question. It always is for goalies, but the light at the end of the tunnel could be very bright with Trey Augustine. For more Locked On Senators draft profiles, head over to YouTube, where we have over 50 ready for you when your team makes a pick at the NHL Draft in Nashville.